Nice and easy.
Over 200 miles southwest, on the other side of Talkeetna, pilot Don Lee is getting ready to haul a load of lumber into the bush.
See how it's gonna tie up.
But this load isn't going inside his plane.
A guy needs to know a few good knots in his life. Will it come back? There's no written way to really do this. You learn by trial and error.
This kind of mission requires experience, but after 35 years as a bush pilot, Don has a lot of that.
I got the greatest job in the world. Get to fly airplanes every day, float planes, wheel planes, other people's airplanes. Did a couple deployments in Afghanistan and got shot, didn't die. Been on fire a couple of times, had an airplane try and come apart in the air. How much fun is that?
Rock on, baby.
Don is the owner of Alaska Floats and Skis, an advanced flying school, but he also hauls cargo for extra cash.
All right, we're ready for start.
The lumber he's hauling today is going to a remote camp 40 miles northeast. And the best way to get there is by float plane.
The airplane is really the gateway to the wilderness in Alaska. There's very little infrastructure for roads. I mean, we start that airplane up and you're out there.
The first leg of Don's mission will be tough, but the second half will be even more challenging. After dropping the lumber, he'll fly home with a snowmobile strapped to his plane.
The snowmobile came in here in the 60s, before this airplane was even made.
It's a very vintage snowmobile. It's been sitting in the shed for, God, 40 years, and these folks want to restore it.
Joining Don today is Mark Tomaszewski, an East Coaster with dreams of becoming a bush pilot. As Don approaches the lake, he spots a problem.
All right, we got some ice here. I'm not real excited about landing on the ice.
Part of the lake is frozen.
Our lake is about a quarter the size of it originally is because of the ice. You want to try to avoid it. These airplanes aren't made to be ice breakers.
While landing, Don must be careful not to let his pontoons get tripped up by the ice.
You know, this load can get away from us. It can start coming undone. It can flip off the airplane. Unfortunately, the consequences are catastrophic. All right, let's get this thing down. Nice, good, no problem. All right.
He nails the landing. But now the ice poses a different problem.
Yeah, Man, yeah. We can't get over to that shore, can we?
If Don and Mark can't get their plane close enough to dump their load, the mission will be a bust.
The unexpected is expected. We may or may not get that lumber off of here. Wish I would have brought my fishing rod. We could have done a little ice fishing.
500 miles due south, Don and Mark are trying to break through an inch of ice to deliver their load of lumber.
I can almost reach the bottom here. I am right on the edge of that. Only leak at the top. Yeah, we're getting her.
After half an hour of hacking, the plane is close enough to unload. They need the space. On the return flight, they hope to transport an antique snowmobile.
We may or may not get that snowmobile, but we're going to get this lumber off of here.
But now the cold is taking its toll.
I'm going to put them under my armpits. His hands are frozen. Once they reach the point of being uncomfortable, then you start doing damage. That's the way to do it. Nothing's too important that you can't just stop for a minute and get everything back to normal again.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You want some?
No, I'm okay.
You want some love it?
I'm good. Two things you need to know about men. They're either hungry or horny. If they don't have a Woody, give them a sandwich. Is that gonna work? Good enough.
Now it's time to get the snowmobile.
All right, let's walk over there and see what we got here. Got Martin tracks here.
Bear chewing away at the cabin. You can see the big bear rub here, over here, and one good one right there. It's an old Arctic cat.
That is totally cool. It's not damaged very badly. There's enough here to actually fix up. Look at those little headlights. Ah! Little windshield, this is trick.
The old machine reminds Don of when he first arrived in Alaska.
Woohoo!
I'm originally from Minnesota, and back in the late 60s, I left Minnesota. I had $7 in my pocket and a jar of vitamins, and hitchhiked to Alaska, and never looked back. Alaska was the last frontier, and it still is. I was hungry for the first 10 years. I didn't have hot or cold, inside plumbing for 10, 15 years when I was first out here. I lived in the bush for 4 years initially, fly out only, and that's where I learned to fly.
Because the snowmobile is in 2 pieces, Don will put 1 piece on each of his pontoons.
Yep. My hand's up. When you put a load on your airplane, you kind of look for where that balance point would be. And you kind of look at the CG of your airplane, and that's where you put it. We're going to face it in the right direction to where aerodynamically it flows to the air the best. We're going to tie it on really good, and we're going to go. That load looks real good. This one looks nice and solid. We're ready to rock. Let's blow this pop stand.
Now comes the tricky part, getting this awkward load back to Talkeetna.
Flying airplanes is a privilege, and with that privilege comes a certain element of risk. You're only good as your last flight.
Over 100 miles north, Don Lee is also hoping to get home. With the old snowmobile tied down tight, he powers up for takeoff.
Just want to go real slow through this ice. This ice is 1 inch to 1.5 inches thick.
But the partially frozen lake could make it dangerous.
One thing that concerns me is the length of the water we have here. It's not going to give me a lot of time to feel the load. As soon as you come off the water, you don't just sky up and fly. You keep it right on the water and see what it feels like. If it feels good, keep going. If it don't feel good, put it right back down.
Damaging the floats, you could get a hole in it, start taking on water, can't take off. Then what do? You're in freezing water, it's getting dark out. The planes are starting to sink. You got a snowmobile on your floats, what do?
All right, Mark, I want you to look out the window there and see if anything's flapping or see if how that load's carrying.
It's all good until all of a sudden it's not. There's no room for mistakes with airplanes.
Probably all dead. Nice bringing new life to old stuff. Kind of like me getting up in the morning.
As the sun begins to set, Don heads in for his final approach.
We cheated death again.
We pulled it out of the woods and we kind of cleaned it up, and it's real exciting to get it back here.
And now it's on its way to be restored, and so a lot more people can enjoy it.
With the mission complete, it's time to celebrate.
Oh, come here!
You know I love her.
That's right!
Put that on
She
camera.
loves me! No matter what she says!
This is really a fun business. Flying airplanes is a blast. but it's a serious business. And it's the dichotomy of the seriousness of it and the absolute freedom and fun you have with it that makes it so challenging and so fun to be involved in.
A job done well. We survived it.